watch the nuclear flies video from Kurzgesagt, I'll go use the restroom. And I say use the restroom, I'll go on break. I'll be honest with you, anytime I say I'm gonna go on restroom for like 10 minutes, or like to a bathroom break, here's what really happens, okay? I go to the main house. I actually use the restroom. Poop, pee, whatever the frick needs to happen is gonna happen. If I'm lucky, it'll be before the kids are home from school, and I'll just like, it'll be an easy transition. I might go to the fridge and see if there's anything, you know, and something I can munch on real quick, and then come back. And then, like, you know, and at that point, if they are home, they might ask me for help. They might homework, a computer issue, for a cell phone issue, whatever the frick, right? I'm the freaking guy that everyone comes to for help. But when I get back to the room, I also I pretty much, oh, even before that, so I water my garden because I got a lot of strawberries, apple trees, fruit trees, cherry tree, plums, and a bunch of jalapenos, cobra chiles, and I'm actually trying to get some habaneros going. Anyway, but I got a lot of plants, big garden, huge, and a lot of like floral, you know, succulents, just all kinds of different like flowers, like a lot of decorative ones too. Like we like gardening here. I freaking feed all my pets, my turtle, my doggos, my fish. Give them treats, snacks, and then I pretty much get back to it, you know, after I grab some drinks. So it's like, it's honestly, by the time I get back, it's like a cool 20-30 minutes. So at this point, it's like, I'd rather like get a good couple of videos in and then go on break. Alright, so I'm not even gonna say I'm gonna use the restroom anymore, alright? Because it's like not even like, it's not just the restroom ever. But whatever. Alright, Kurzgesagt, we have reacted to a couple of videos in the past, but not so many, but I want to start reacting to more. How nuclear flies protect you from flesh-eating parasites. Y'all didn't even know this, did you? Y'all didn't even know Putin was making all kinds of freaking, like, nuclear flies over there in Russia. Protecting the world.
Right now, 100 million radiation-blasted, flesh-eating flies are raining down over the jungles of Panama to commit a genocide that can...
Oh, damn. I don't know why I immediately thought it was going to be in Russia, right? With the, like, nuclear flies. I figured it would be, like, one of them Chernobyl situations.
never end. Their tiny bodies are rebuilding a wall of flesh that protects an entire continent. This is one of humanity's most successful wars, going on for over 50 years now. Fought from Central America to the deserts of Libya.
Wait, they're sterile?
Entire continent. This is one of humanity's most successful wars, going on for over 50 years now. Fought from Central America to the deserts of Libya. Okay, so what's going on? The unbeatable
flesh-eating fly. What the hell? Okay.
Flesh-eating fly. We need to talk about one of the most terrifying parasites on Earth for a moment. Don't worry, we won't make it too gross. If you want to skip this part, jump to the next chapter.
The most disgusting parasite in the whole world.
Cochleomya hominivorax, which literally means...
I was about to make a joke, but honestly, after the whole Tectone situation getting banned for calling Frogan fat, I'm kind of just not gonna say it.
the man-eater.
It wasn't about Frogan, by the way. It was a joke about someone else, but I'm just saying.
New World screwworm fly at home in the Americas. Each of these metallic blue-green flies with bright red eyes that exist in nature is here because it's feasted on the flesh of a warm-blooded animal. Cochleomya can detect wounds and smell blood across vast distances. If a human, a deer, or a squirrel has the tiniest scratch, female screwworm flies will try to lay eggs in the wound. When they hatch,
oh, like the bot flies and stuff.
The worms start eating healthy flesh with sharp mandibles, causing horrible wounds, attracting even more flies. In serious cases, the animal will die, or at least be severely weakened. Cochleomya doesn't add anything positive to the world and is a natural enemy of ours. For most
they have no benefits to the natural. See, this is why I always say it's like, listen, I love nature and I love, you know, we should always help and protect whenever we can and preserve and all that. But some creatures just deserve to be wiped out.
Most of history,
just go extinct
this parasite
already.
was simply a horrifying fact of life in the Americas. And then we accidentally created a paradise for them. As farmers introduced millions and millions of cows to the vast expanses of the southern US, screwworms became a catastrophic problem and a source of endless suffering for our defenseless cattle. One outbreak might wipe out herds and lead to cruel, lingering deaths for countless animals in the wild. Traditional pesticides were useless against cochleomyia because you couldn't poison something that lived inside a living animal's flesh. You couldn't prevent animals from getting injured or flies from finding wounds. The situation seemed hopeless, and cochleomyia was winning. Ranchers had to spend countless hours examining their herds, treating wounds, trying to protect newborns, watching helplessly as their animals suffered. And then two scientists in the 1950s had an idea that was too wild to be taken seriously at first. What if we kind of nuke the screwworms?
Stop. Really? Really? Is this all that Americans did in the 1950s? We just decided to nuke everything?
Radioactive.
Alright, you know what? I was close. Fair is fair. It was a 50-50 shot of it being Russia or America, right?
Parasite factories. Screwworm flies have a major weakness. Female cochleomyia can lay up to 400 eggs multiple times. But they only mate a single time before they die at the ripe old age of 3 weeks.
Oh, which means that the vast majority of them would all share the same DNA.
So what if we could somehow disrupt the mating process? What if we could flood the environment with sterile male flies? The females would waste their one and only chance at reproduction on males that couldn't produce offspring. An entire species could theoretically mate itself out of existence. But
Okay, that makes sense.
how do you sterilize millions of flies without killing them?
Yeah, because if you, theoretically, you only need the one bull, right? If the female only mates with one bull, that's insane.
Or making them too weak to compete for mates.
That's like what the Solarians, are they called, did to the Krogans in Mass Effect 2.
Well, it turned out the timing
Well, it was before Mass Effect, right? But you get what I'm saying.
This was kind of perfect. Scientists studying the effects of radiation had discovered that specific doses could damage reproductive cells while leaving the rest of an organism intact. So all we need...
Isn't it just so interesting? I wonder, there's got to be some kind of scientific explanation for that, or some kind of, like, rule set, or fundamental, like... I guess, well, not rule, but I guess there's got to be some kind of, like, what do you call it for a Hux gene? Like, the Hux gene is, like, basically what tells, like, every cell in the body what its job is or how to do everything. There's got to be some kind of, like, base thing about it. Like, why is it that it's the reproductive genes that get annihilated by radiation first? Are they just, like, the weakest, like, genes, or the weakest DNA sequences?
Needed to do was figure out...
Or is it because they're so, like, you know how, like, you know, like, especially when it comes to, like, genetics of, like, you know, passing on genetics to your children, it's always a 50-50, like, shot of what DNA traits you get and whatnot. Is it because they're so willing to be malleable or to change those like, strands of DNA that they're also so weak to, like, being nuked, so to speak? You get what I'm saying? Like, since they're so ready to change already, they're so willing to change and accept a new DNA.
Out how high this dose was for cochleomyia,
Any scientists out there know something about that?
Irradiate them, and release them over thousands of square kilometers. Imagine explaining this idea to someone in 1950. Imagine the scale of the damage and the suffering that cochleomyia caused for people to say, okay, sure, let's try this, why not? To prove this could work, scientists built a screwworm paradise in Florida and shipped millions of flies to the remote island of Curacao.
Why? Frickin' America, bro! Alright, here's what we're gonna do. We're having problems here in America, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna experiment on something in Florida and ship off the experiments to frickin' Curacao.
Long trays were filled with ground beef and horse meat, animal blood, milk, and eggs. Thousands were bred, irradiated, and released into the wild in regular intervals. As the weeks and months passed, more and more of the cochleomyia on the island were infertile and mated with regular ones. First slowly, and then suddenly, they were no more.
They freaking wiped them all out!
It was time to think much bigger.
Let's go! Humans #1, baby! America!
Bigger. Over the next few decades, a war was declared and professional worm factories established to breed them by the billions. A single plant in Texas alone needed 70 tons of meat and 12,000 gallons of blood to breed 150 million flies per week. The disgusting mix had to be kept warm because they had to believe they were inside a living animal. This lovely process made the insects smell so bad that airlines initially refused to transport them. Their transport boxes had to be sprayed with cologne just to get them on planes. Bit by bit, in a slow-moving wave of biological warfare, the program eradicated screwworms. First from Florida, then across Texas, through Mexico and into Central America. Every step required billions of sterile flies, massive coordination, and unwavering dedication from thousands of workers. It was an incredible victory of humanity over the horrors of nature. In 1988, the war suddenly became...
It's a lot easier to destroy their DNA, but to give them positive traits, that's where it gets like into like some next level freaking genetic like DNA stuff.
Global, and for the first time ever,
that's basically the entire premise of like Bioshock and stuff. Is like when you can like, rather than eliminating negative traits from certain species, what if you were able to add positive traits to yours
worms
in real time?
Africa. The stakes were astronomical. If not stopped immediately, flesh-eating Cochleomya could move down the Nile Valley, around the North African coast, and conquer regions where medical care was scarce or non-existent. The potential suffering was incalculable. To stop this invasion, a Herculean operation was triggered immediately. Hundreds of millions of sterile flies were flown in. Ground teams inspected millions of animals for wounds. Communication campaigns explained to locals why planes were dropping boxes full of millions of flesh-eating American flies. But it worked.
Listen! The Americans are dropping thousands and thousands of boxes of flesh-eating parasitic worms and flies. I promise you it's not what you think. I promise you it's for your own benefit.
In just 4 months, the invasion was stopped. But Cochleomya still held a firm grip over the Amazon rainforest and much of South America. An area too large, politically complicated and expensive to expand the war further. So a deal was made with Panama, the narrowest part of the continent. The US and Mexico would pay for a wall of flesh in the small country. It would prevent any
wall of flesh. Damn!
Screwworms from reaching the north ever again. Today, deep in Panama, a nuclear worm factory runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, producing an endless stream of sterile flies. The technology has come a long way from the early days. Instead of ground meat, a brown protein sludge made from powdered blood, milk and eggs is piped into trays stacked in rooms kept at exactly the same temperature as living tissue. Thousands of flies
Okay, so now we can mass produce these things like crazy.
Carefully irradiated with precise doses of radiation.
Can I ask why we're not doing this with mosquitoes?
Creating Cochleomya that acts normal but are dead inside. Each week, 100 million flies are loaded into rotating dispersal machines to be released mid-flight in a finely tuned balance of drop rate, speed and altitude. The flight paths are separated by precisely 1.6 kilometers in a choreographed aerial ballet, creating an invisible wall of sterile flies. Surveillance teams cover some of the most remote and challenging terrain to check animals for injuries and monitor for any sign of screwworm activity. Unfortunately, right now, the
so you telling me that America's putting up borders even on the freaking like insect level? Damn.
wall is failing and the war against Cochleomya is far from over. Cochleomya strikes back. In 2016, Cochleomya somehow made their way back to the Florida Keys, turning the Paradise Islands into a nightmare. Key deer were suddenly walking around with gaping wounds. Millions of sterile flies were rushed in from Panama, creating a front around the outbreak and beginning the eradication again. Within months, the invasion was at least contained.
Yeah, can I ask, why didn't they just start on like, why is this one facility not en masse just sending, like, basically just, like, dropping nukes everywhere of these flies?
And in late 2023, the
just
war
to sort
in
of keep the
Panama
world
failed,
population
and
under control.
Cochleomya struck back immediately. Like a parasitic firestorm on speed, it spread again all over Panama and Costa Rica, burning through Central America and even reaching Mexico. The worm factory now produces
My
sterile
people
worms
know!
at maximum capacity. It's a real biological emergency, and it's not clear when it will be over. One day, we might be able to win the war against this horrible monster. We did so before, and other parasites have been eradicated from much of the world or even entirely. So if you find yourself in Central America and see a low-flying plane overhead, maybe you're witnessing another day in one of humanity's most unusual wars. A war we can never stop fighting and can't afford to lose.
I feel like
Incredible.
they could really just like have that plant mass like exporting these freaking flies everywhere.
Incredible breakthroughs often start with ideas that sound incredibly crazy at first. Seeing solutions where others see dead ends.
Don't get me wrong, that is exactly what they're doing, but I mean, even into the areas that are, not like close to the U.S., like they really should just be
Isn't a
launching
rare
those
skill
things.
only geniuses are born
Just to
with.
keep the
It's
populations
one
down.
you can start building right now in just minutes a day with the help of our friends at Brilliant.
Or at least at
Brilliant
like major
will make you
ports.
smarter every day with thousands of interactive, bite-sized lessons that transform your mind into a problem-solving machine. On Brilliant, learning feels more like playing a game. You'll get hands-on with big ideas in everything from maths and science to AI, data analysis, and beyond.
Well,
You'll
sounds
not only
cool.
gain knowledge of key concepts, you'll learn to apply them to real-world situations. Brilliant is constantly releasing new and updated lessons, so you'll never run out of fascinating topics to explore. Spending just a few minutes a day, you'll quickly become a smarter thinker and problem solver with all the tools you need to make breakthroughs of your own. To start exploring everything Brilliant has to offer for
That's how I feel when I play gacha games, like the waifu games.
free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/nutshell or click on the link in the description.
Ooh,
You'll also
20%
get
off,
20% off an annual premium subscription.
Go use that code, Monos.
This bird
If you don't
has
wanna be a smart
magical
monkey.
powers. Let's see a demonstration.
I do it.
Bring in the latest scientific research. Wow, that's a lot of complicated stuff about the immune system and all its cells. How could someone possibly understand all of this? Incredible! This overview is delightful and easy to grasp, but still scientifically accurate. Let's make it a bit more difficult. Can she make all of evolution visible at a glance? This is brilliant. You can clearly see the relationships between species and how they evolved. And look at those illustrations.
I got the
These
hagfish!
posters are ready to be shared with the world. These
Oh, those are actually really sick. Oh, the Quasar one is dope!
very special pieces of Kurzgesagt are now available on our shop along with many other science
Oh, a bacterial page! The first time I saw those was in a freaking, I think it was a Jimmy Neutron show. I love
products,
them.
all researched with care
that's so
and
cool.
created with love by the burbs with magical powers. Every Kurzgesagt product you buy directly funds another moment we get to spend working on our videos. Thank you so much for being a part of our story and for making this channel
Y'all should make the metal posters.
possible.
Y'all should make those, but like in the metal posters, like the metal ones, the ones the ones that are like they're magnetized. That'd be sick. Bro, some of the best content, I swear. On the platform. Educational is so freaking fun, I love it. So good. Please go and try Kurzgesagt. A like, go drop him a sub. Go drop him a comment, go drop give them everything. They deserve it. Phenomenal, phenomenal videos. And I'm hoping to watch more of theirs too in the future. Ayoo, Monodachis! Thank you so much for watching this video. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You can also find links to the videos that we reacted to today down in the description below, along with my Oshi marks. I'll see you in the next video, Monos. Goodbye, and thank you so much for swinging by. Salut!